Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rainbow Six Siege. Last week we played, it was our white team last week, wasn't it?
I think last week was the Maroon team as well with the Catholic America University.
Yeah.
Catholic University of America, whatever.
That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
I was different role that game, but we were just joking before we started up the stream that this guy right here had us cackle laughing the whole stream. But it looks like we're already getting into our first map here being Bank.
Bank looks like, yep. And we will be playing Fisher College this week, who is the only other team in our group that is undefeated going into this week. So hopefully we get a nice little barn burner here. Two undefeated teams playing the last game of the regular season against each other. Should be a spicy one.
Yeah, this is all on the line here then.
Yeah. Fisher, pretty highly regarded collegiate team, but EKU's definitely made a name for themselves as well. So hoping to see a nice little barn burner here maybe. Going to be starting off on Bank, and we see Blackbeard banned, pretty typical. To see those shields banned out pretty quick. We'll see what Fisher ban on attack. The Hibana, so that's a hard breacher taken out of the equation for Bank. Hibana's really strong for hatches, so this is going to force the attacks to rely more so on hard breach gadgets and whatnot. Usually Hibana a comfortable pick for Bank, but yeah, with that out of the equation, we'll have to see some adaptation from the attacks here.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that this map in particular, there is so many hatches just all around. There's the elevator hatch. There's more like upstairs just to play around. So having that character that is one of the easier ones to break those reinforced hatches is a strong ban.
Yeah, and then Azami, also pretty typical, but the Cade ban there is interesting. That's going to also play into that hatch play, because normally you'll see Cade claws all over, especially on the basement site, the hatches to force EMPs from the attack, but just that extra note out of the equation there of Cade will allow for the attack to not worry about having to EMP the hatches, can just focus on, in this case, hard breach charging them.
Yeah, and it looks like EKU here is going with a very stall comp here, with the Goyo smoke and Tural being able to kind of slow down those initial pushes. So we'll have to see how most teams we see really ends up playing out. The biggest danger is time. They not even near the site by the time a minute ticks away. So we'll have to see how they adapt here from Fisher.
Yeah, lockers on Bank, definitely a utility-based site and a time-based site. One of the, it's pretty much just a mini game on how you juggle time for this bomb site. And Fisher will have to look to accelerate the round somehow, whether it be clearing utility or getting some picks early to beat this stall, because you're right, EKU bringing Goyo, Legion, Tuberal, lots of smoke, lots of things that are just going to slow the attack down if the attack cannot counter that.
Yeah.
And looks like that Fisher will go for a top down clear here. Looks like bomb there on the Deimos will look to get in the top floor. Bring the Deimos, obviously they're anticipating some roam off the site, and will look to clear that out rather quickly. Ryan looks like he's droning out the top floor, so perhaps Fisher not having pre-prep phase information, pre-placed camps to get in some of this places fast, but bomb following these drones up very quickly, opening pressure above open, and they will look to pressure this open presence very quick here.
Yeah, and it looks like EKU has one person on the second floor, if I was not mistaken, seen from that top down there, and having that Demos be able to apply pressure to them, kind of make them have to make these quick decisions of, am I going to fight this fight, or am I going to drop down with my team? And it looks like they do know where the Legion is, being able to kind of put their crosshair directly on them through the wall. So this is a fight we're getting ready to see happen.
Yeah, looks like Fisher are going to double walk at the EKU players, but EKU managed to get out. There's good timing on the peeling back there, and a good amount of time wasted for Fisher there to sort of slowly approach those open players, only to let them slip away.
Yeah, it really felt like we were about to see at least two people drop on a trade there, but ended up not even any shots fired that connected to anybody, it seems. So now we're just going to be waiting it out, and like I said, we're getting closer and closer to that 1 minute mark and still barely even have boots on the right floor.
Yeah, and Moon using the tuber eyes here on this hatch will allow for lots of time stalled on the main hatch there. And I'm wondering if Fisher are going to need to go for some more wild plays here toward the end of the round, or they might lose out on the time, as EKU are doing an excellent job stalling for the round.
Yeah, even more Legion mines blocking them on that staircase there, as they just have to play around this one main hatch here, just waiting. The entire site looks like it is on fire at the moment.
Yeah, it's that Goyo burn, and the Twitch popping those Goyo chargers might have given Fisher a little bit of ground back if the Twitch popped most of those Goyos. Main hatch now going to be open above CC, and we're about to see maybe a collapse unless EKU can juggle their utility properly here.
Yeah, and it looks like at this point, we're just seeing Fisher kind of trying to find out where those EKU players are sitting, try to figure out how on earth are we going to execute onto this site and when are we going to be able to do it. It looks like Colvix is still waiting for those smoke charges to stall him off even further with 17 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, still 2 smoke charges left though, but he goes down with 2 smokes in his pocket. C4 out, it's going to miss. The bomb is going down. It's a 3v5 for EKU now, as Fisher just sort of forced their way into lockers. Borger's going to find one though. Going to have to retake now. Borger gets smoked. Now it's a 2 versus 4, maybe 3 versus 4 if Moon can get up here for EKU. Bomb's gonna find 2, and now Moon has to do it all.
1 health and a dream here from Moon. And they are found by Bomb, leaving him with 3 or 4 in the round. I can't remember if he got one early pick or not.
I think there was 4 left in the round, yep. And yeah, good round from EKU early round, good round from EKU mid round, but when Fisher went to go for that collapse, especially the smoke there, Colvix just dying with 2 smokes in his pocket, being first pick on the smoke there, just not great smoke play for the late round there, and it cost EKU. Fisher were able to get in because of that and get the bomb down. And it looks like EKU are like, guys, we know we can win this. We know we just made a minor mistake, and they're going to try to run it back. Same operator lineup, and we'll see if Fisher can adapt to whatever EKU do, which, again, looks like it could be the same thing. Fisher might end up going a little faster if they read into that, knowing it's a similar setup.
Yes. It felt like, as you said, it was played very well from EKU. It's just right at the end there, in that kind of last few moments, the only downside about that stall comp is it really makes the fight come down to just who wins the gunfights at the last second of the game. It takes away some of the tacticality and kind of just makes it like a COD lobby pretty much. You're just running and gunning, trying to get that final push onto site, and whoever the bullets connect better is the one who wins the round at the end.
Yeah, and usually if you're on the defense, you're holding the positions, you know where the attack has to come from and you're advantaged, but Fisher College did a great job of winning those gunfights out and taking the space that they needed to get up in that round. And it does look like we will see something a little different this time from Fisher. They're sending a blitz early here into electrical, and we see the Osa with the diffuser going in through dirt. Might go for some fast play here against what they read to be a similar EKU setup.
Yeah, I am noticing though, one of the ops that they did switch out for one of these different characters is that Twitch. So they do now have no way of getting in there and breaking those fires.
Right, the Twitch sacrificed, but the speed that Fisher applied to get server really fast might be worth it, as already we see Goyo's getting popped by the defense. And yeah, EKU will have to respond to this fast minimum pressure on the server side. And a great shot from Moon to take one down. That's the blitz. So Osa's still up for the plant potential early, but the blitz going down kind of eliminates some of the chaos that could happen a little later in the round.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing those shield characters are oftentimes in this game, even after they got nerfed, I believe last season, they're still just one of the more powerful picks in this game.
Yeah, and here Osa's going to start playing behind the shield here, but where are the C4s and the smokes from EKU? Looks like it's late.
Drops just not in time.
Yeah, everything's too late. However, 5 versus 3 for EKU. It looks like Sin's creeping through square, going to try to flank down blue. he times this with the rest of his team, it could be huge. Bomb goes down on the Deimos. There's another one, and Sin takes him down. 5 versus 1, really a 3 versus 1 though, as Annika's getting some picks there from server, but gonna be dropped by Sin, and Sin with the huge flank allow EKU to steal the round away. Despite some really good early pressure from Fisher, EKU remain composed, make the right plays, the right times, and tied game now on the defense.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of felt opposite to what we saw the last round, where everything felt very, very confident from one team at the start, and then at the end, the other team just starts taking those gunfights and winning. Where that worked for Fisher's favor in round 1, EKU had it in round 2.
Yeah, now EKU probably going to head up to the CEO office. We'll see what they cook up here for Fisher and what Fisher's take might look like for CEO, as we saw 2 really competitive lockers rounds. Hopefully the game keeps it up with just this back and forth, but we'll see how these teams hold up moving to a different bomb site, as EKU are running the CEO with a Mira, going to do a Mira setup, likely bringing the Aruni to guard that Mira from the CEO window repels, and Fisher, see how they try to deal with it if they realize that there's a Mira. They do have the Twitch, and if EKU's not careful, that could get in there and disrupt some of the plans, but we will see.
Yeah, it feels like on both team comps so far EKU has been running, that Twitch is just a very, very powerful pick, whether it be the fire from Goyo there or the mirrors. Either way, there's just a lot of pressure being applied from one pick there from Fisher.
Yeah, Twitch a really strong operator on Bank, really on a lot of maps, but especially here on Bank, where Bank is very utility focused and position focused. So looks like Bomb is already in open. Realized that nobody from EKU is on anywhere except the top floor, and he's going to look to get some vertical pressure from below fast here with the Deimos. Kolvix may be the victim, as he's the one playing in Janitor. We'll see how that interaction plays out once Fisher get ready to go for this pressure, as we do see them repelling CEO windows. The diffuser is on Annika, who is on the CEO repels, so likely going to be a CEO repel take.
Yeah, it does look like, however, that Bomb does end up scanning Borger instead of Kolvix here, so that might make it safe, especially having a shotgun in that vertical play there.
Yeah, I might have expected Borger being on the Mira to be playing that Mira, but it's actually Kolvix on the smoke, so the switch around there kind of working out a little bit for EKU, although I'd say pretty soon here Bomb will be getting ready to go for Kolvix if he hangs around. That Mira did get popped from below by Bomb though, so now no more direct pressure onto those CEO window repellents.
And it looks like a fight might be about to happen with Lomo there, whether or not they're taken off guard or expect it. Someone's about to push them on that staircase, it seemed.
Yeah, Lomo probably realizing it's kind of quiet outside square. There's just, I believe, that Flores sending drones in from the roof. The rest of this push is on the CEO repels with a couple people below, and EKU probably anticipating these stair walk-ups now, as they know that these players are there on the first floor. Mira's going to get tracked by Bomb on the Deimos, and Lomo looks like he's aware of the position outside of square. And now Fisher, though, are going to start running low on time if they don't go for some sort of an execute soon. The pressure there coming from Ryan onto Lomo, playing outside stock. But Fisher have to get something going soon here, or they will be running out of time shortly.
Yeah, it seems like they do know Lomo is just in this hallway here. And whether or not they're going to be able to push Lomo together or not might be the decider here. Taking out that person, kind of defending this entire hallway, one-man army here.
Yeah, Lomo is certainly going to get 3-2-1. Sin goes down elsewhere, though, and Moon has been injured. Lomo somehow still alive at this point, and what a shot onto Ryan. Huge pre-fire, and he takes down Beezer. That's the main stairs presence, but the rest of EKU goes down, and Lomo in the 1 versus 3 just can't do anything else with that CEO repel. Really great stalling, great place from Lomo, but the rest of EKU just getting picked off of their positions, and Fisher take the round. They play the patient game, and they punish EKU.
Yeah, it feels like most of the action in all of these rounds so far has been happening within that last minute of the round. And it seems like the exact opposite of what I said came true, where I thought that Lomo fight was going to be the initiator of that execute. However, it was the last moment there as the rest of the team got dropped, leaving Lomo alone. But impressive defense there from Lomo, dropping those two and just having no health to pick the third fight.
Yeah, now EKU again gonna run the site back to back and the same lineup. I'm not sure about this. The Mira getting popped fast by the below pressure. Unless EKU switch it up and run somebody below, almost think they should have swapped some operators around here, changed the round up a little bit, because Fisher know this setup and they dealt with the Miras very easily and eliminated that janitor onto CEO presence and threat. So we'll see if EKU switch something up here and maybe they'll sit somebody below. And if not, Fisher are probably poised to deal with this well, but actually Fisher are switching it up, bringing the Ying, Amaru, and Blitz. They're going to go for some fast play. So again, the same sequence that we saw in the first two rounds, sort of a normal round from Fisher and then a fast round. And we'll see what Fisher are going to cook up on this one.
It's an interesting trend to see, though, because this is exactly what they did the first rounds, and they won round 1 and lost round 2. And now once again, they won round 3 and are switching up their strategy for round 4. So hopefully we may see just a mirror once again, or they might have locked in what they were planning on doing and be able to take this fast here.
And Lomo did go below, as spoken about before, and he does surprise Ryan. Fisher thinking that EKU were not going to have any presence below this time, but Lomo was ready for that. And that's the Amaru out of the equation. And now it's just bomb on the Blitz to make the fast pressure. Beezer on the Ying, though, could help, as they will chuck the Candelas into Trump. But the Blitz does get through, and now he's going to be pressuring this castle and Trump. But the swing at the right time from Sin. He gets Beezer. Now it's just this Blitz outside Banana. He takes down Moon, but now he's isolated. And what a shot from Sin. He's going to drop off, likely try to rotate back, reset for the 4 versus 2 EKU.
Yeah, and as I was saying at the start of this round, it feels as though we're just watching history repeat itself with how these rounds have played out. Just playing it slow and steady and getting around, and then playing a fast push and dropping it. So
yeah, it looks like the EKU do know that Marmalade has swung into short here. And Annika will find Sin, and that could be a little bit of an opening this round, but Lomo smokes Marmalade, and now it's just Annika running around that first floor, and in a 3 versus 1 for EKU. As long as they keep their composure, this should be a round locked up. And yeah, the same sequence we saw before. A standard round followed by a fast round, and a win followed by a loss from Fisher.
yeah, and honestly, with the amount of health,
Borger looking away at the wrong time, and Kolvik's almost overexposes the recipe for disaster right there, but Lomo shuts it down. And maybe
that was scary.
maybe Borger had his headset on backwards because he seemed to swing around the opposite direction at the worst possible time. But luckily Lomo put the pin in the round there. And yeah, huge round from Lomo. Sin as well, getting 2 huge picks from the elevator. But Lomo with the perfect read on that player entering the basement that just totally disrupted Fisher's attack. And Fisher just scrambled from there. And a good round from EKU. And despite having lockers available, they will swap over to the third bomb site open area. We'll see what they cook up here.
It seems like Fisher here is going once again with a bit of a more quick, kind of a mix of what they did the past rounds and the rounds they've lost. Maybe finally realizing that we're winning the slower rounds and losing the faster rounds. And there we go. The Amaru is now switching off for gridlock. So once again, this starts to feel exactly like what we've been seeing this whole game. Of once again, they're going to go more slow, tactical, find out EKU. And it might just be a game of tug of war and round for each team.
Yeah, we'll see. Fisher definitely showing that they're willing to play patient and wait for EKU to make the mistakes. But if EKU read into this and know that that's how Fisher will be playing, then maybe they can punish that. But yeah, Fisher probably just going to be looking this round to fish, no pun intended, for some picks here off of EKU rotations, just opening up pressure above. And yeah, we'll see how EKU's poise pay off for them.
Yeah, as we're seeing a lot of quick takes of the upper levels from Fisher here, just trying to get that verticality down very, very quickly at the start of this round.
Lomo with an early pick outside square. That is a huge pick from Lomo, and now he's getting thrown out and pressure coming in now top square. Lomo, if Sin does not help him here, might need to get out. But Sin posted up with the shotgun, but they will know that Sin is playing here. And now it may be time for Lomo to get out as he will just barely escape the grenade. And Ethan, or Sin is full white, gets dropped by Beezer. That's the janitor player dead fast. Now Lomo back on the site. And here comes Moon. 4 versus 4, and it looks like EKU will post up on the first floor and make Fisher work for some more pressure again. Just sort of a vertical reset now onto that first floor.
Yeah, now we're starting to see it's kind of even. It's kind of, like you said, almost a restart of the round. This time it's just a 4v4 as they're trying to get that verticality back at the top here and move down onto EKU, who's now expecting it as Borger finds Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, huge pick from Borger onto Beezer there, likely through the vert that Beezer was making above him. That was huge. That eliminates the buck and the vertical pressure that can go on, except the Deimos will be a problem for Borger as all of this ceiling above him is soft, and Bomb has a pistol and wall hacks. But it looks like Marmo's going to drop the hatch early. Lomo will punish her, though.
I mean, it feels like this round has just been a lot of seeing, or this game entirely has been a lot of Lomo just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and Annika just kind of going for a Hail Mary through the printer window and gets shut down from EKU. And what a round from EKU. We saw the early engagements go 1 for 1, and EKU calling just to come back to the first floor, play patient, and it works out as Fisher makes some mistakes that EKU can punish with that patience. And yeah, now it's a 3-2 lead for EKU, their first lead of the night so far, as they go back to lockers where we started it all off.
Yeah, it feels like EKU has finally broken that trend that we saw in the first 4 rounds. So now we're hoping, based on what we've seen, this should be an EKU win for this round, just going off of the pattern we've seen. So
yeah. This being the third time we play lockers, though, we'll see that if Fisher might try to go for a third style take, or if they will just default back to what worked the first round, playing patient, clearing the roam out, clearing the utility out, and having a good time to execute, which according to the operator lineup looks like that's what they will be doing with seeing the Deimos, the Dope, the Twitch, similar to what we saw the first round from Fisher, as EKU bring the same lineup that they've been bringing here on lockers. And unless they do some positioning switch ups, again, Fishers have had 2 rounds to think about this defense that EKU run, and we'll see that perhaps paying off for Fisher if they make the right choices early round.
yeah, because really that first round, what we saw go wrong for EKU came more so down to just those gunfights at the end, which is not really a variable that we have a lot of control on. So really, if they play it the same way they played round 1, play it kind of slower, EKU played it right, just lost the gunfights. So it's kind of a gamble to count on that again.
Yeah, it does look like Lomo's going to be switching it up. Did not start the top floor the last 2 times, but he will this time, and might stall Fisher just a few extra seconds, but ultimately somebody there on the lobby rappel almost gets Lomo as he rotates back to open area, and actually just a full-on drop now from EKU, bunkering down on the basement just 50 seconds into the round. So good pacing from Fisher on the attack to get the first floor control pretty quick there, and we will see what EKU can do from here on stalling with that utility. And yeah, if it comes down to it, which it looks like it might, winning those gunfights on the collapse.
And we already are getting into this position where we're going to be relying more on those gunfights and this kind of more tactical play as the time just ticks away. And we're already seeing EKU down quite a bit on health there, with Lomo being one shot.
Yeah, and so far Fisher not getting into server makes me think that Fisher might end up doing more of an elevator and vault drop here. No, I see 2 players rotating through open, so they will likely look to finish square down through security again with a little over a minute left, but all 3 smokes still up on Kolvix if he refrain from sticking his face into the angles server side, he might stay alive to use all his smokes this time.
Yeah, that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back in round 1.
Indeed, and still a C4 from Moon should have as well. Not sure about the Goyo situation though. Might have lost all the Goyos, and yeah, looks like the last Goyo's been popped, and the smokes are gonna have to start coming out now from Kolvix, and it's well placed. Flashbang's coming out from the hatch, and Kolvix prones under the hatch. No game sense there, and Bomb will find Sin Garage, I believe. I'm not sure where that was, but he finds Sin, and now EKU on the back foot. Borger finds one. No C4 though. What a shot from Moon. And Lomo picks off the server player. It's just the planter and the player above. And now it's a 3 versus 2 retake from EKU. And one player's in the site, and Moon takes him down. It's just the server player left. EKU in a 3 versus 1.
It looks like we do know where the last player is here, so it just comes down to trying to figure out if we can defend this diffuser.
Anika going for the right play, though, playing the hatch. Lomo might not know that Anika's back and open, and indeed, EKU will have to challenge this hatch from below because of the timing. Likely not going to send somebody up. Oh yeah, there goes Borger. So it's a 1 versus 1, though, for Borger. As Anika punishes him, and now Moon trying to stick the defuse, but Anika can't find him. Will he stick it?
Oh.
He comes off last second, and Anika wins the 1 versus 3. What a roller coaster of a round. EKU almost looking like it slipped away early, and then just a flurry of kills, putting it to a 3 versus 1, and just a misplayed post plant is going to even the score up 3-3.
Yes. It really felt as though all of our hope got taken away very early, just to be sparked right back and once again pulled right out from under us right at the end there. As it was a bit of a moment of quite not having the right timing, I think. They're just pushing that kind of vertical play, more one-on-one, 1v1, 1v1, 1v1 instead of a 3v1.
Yeah, they must have thought where they last saw Anika over in security, they might not have expected Anika to have rotated all the way back to open, but really great rotation that was timed perfectly. And yeah, Fisher off the back of Anika, they're just huge round to bring back that was almost gone. And now we'll see Fisher run lockers with a very similar composition as what EKU had, and EKU, we'll see what they have for their attacks as they now go to what may be a little bit tougher of a side to win on than the defense here on Bank.
Yes. And starting this round, or this match, I mean, with a 3-3 in the first half is a scary spot to be in. It's still anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, very even half, and just depending on how EKU's attacks match up to Fisher's defenses, we could keep seeing just a back and forth game, hopefully. Does look like that EKU will try to enter the first floor early here. Sin on the Deimos, going through ATM, and perhaps EKU know that there's nobody top floor for Fisher. It looks like that Bomb didn't know that Sin was in there, but just not quite exposing enough for Sin to punish him. And now EKU are going to look to pressure these first 4 players to either into picks or to fall back. Whew. And that's just unfortunate timing for Sin, as he will end up getting punished by the wraparound from Bomb, and Lomo also getting pieced. Just very poor entries here from EKU is going to leave their attack 3 versus 5 before they even have the first floor control.
Yes, now we've got it down into just a 3v5 as we're no better in this position than when we started.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to have to go fast on these first 4 players now, or they'll run out of time. But Ryan comes up and swings out square at the right time to pick Borger, and now it's just Moon and Kolvix top square with a legion of roamers and anchors left to get through if they're going to have a chance of winning the round. Marmalade will find Kolvix, and Moon now in a 1 versus 5. Just very, very poor entries on the attack here from EKU, just getting picked apart. And gonna need to see some better early round if EKU will get in this, as Fisher get the flawless round for their first defense.
Yeah, getting that flawless round. As we've talked about in the past, games like this, these tactical shooter games, it cannot be understated the importance of the mental game here. And starting it off even on, dare I say, the easier side to win rounds on defense, then immediately getting flawless on your first round of attack cannot be good for the mental there.
Yeah, hopefully just one round EKU stays composed, but definitely a factor, especially, I mean, a flawless round, you know, you don't want to see many of those go against you, or it could be a little easier to tilt. And it looks like EKU sending lots of drones in fast ATMs indicates to me they might be going for a lobby take here. And Fisher, the pulse below will be interesting. That could disrupt a lobby take if they do not secure that flank. Bomb on the bandit will have to be dealt with, those bandit charges, if they're going to open up that Canto wall, as it is known. And otherwise, fairly default from Fisher, with the Frost being the stock player. And likely you're going to see Ryan play Janitor Closet here, as we also saw EKU run their Smoke Janitor. As EKU now on the CEO attack, the Amaru, the Montaigne, looking like a lobby push going to come out.
Yeah, and it feels as though, as you mentioned, that Pulse being on that first floor is the person we want to try to find very quickly, kind of get that equation out, because the longer he's alive, the more info he can get for that team and just kind of disrupt the push from EKU.
Yeah, maybe Lomo here on the electrical side might be trying to get in the opposite side of the first floor for some pressure. You see him droning out square and whatnot. He could try to help kill Pulse here. Yeah, Montaigne going into Argives. I believe they know about Beezer at this point, and they will look to hard clear him out as an exchange goes out from Colvix and Bomb. But Bomb gets away. And there's the pick from Lomo, square side onto Beezer, but Marmalade refrags, gets Colvix. Not sure if he just got peeked from the top of the lobby there, but not sure how Colvix went down, but punished nevertheless by Marmalade. And now Bomb ratting inside this elevator could pose another issue if EKU don't know about this.
I believe we did put a bit of bullets towards Bomb at one point, but we might have not realized that he is still there.
Yeah, just forgot that he swung out there from elevators earlier and not re-droning it. Now Moon's going to walk at him with the Montaigne, though, but Bomb's going to get help from Marble Stairs. Lomo's going to have Annika and Bomb to deal with here. Unless Borger can provide some assistance. Yeah, Annika going to take him down, and now it's just the Montaigne. He's going to rush the Bandit, but gets out-timing on the melee. Borger refrags Annika, but it's now a 1 versus 3, and gets cooked by Bomb. And yeah, another just sloppy entry to the round from EKU on attack there. Just, I'll say they dealt with the pulse early, but just droning or misinformation, I suppose, on the rest of the first floor presence that they did know of, as Bomb did swing out earlier.
Yeah, I was to say, it felt like Bomb had a fight at one point, and it feels like just a overload of information there from EKU kind of just made him slip up on that one position that really, really cost him the game.
Yeah, if I'm EKU and I'm thinking about how Fisher are just kind of playing very wild, they're not afraid to retake stuff, they're not afraid to walk at you, I'd start playing very minimal attacks here for EKU to try to just minimize what Fisher can get out of making these wild plays.
Yes, it's one of those instances of kind of forget how you anticipate teams to be playing and focus on how the team is playing. Right. Because I know in a lot of the games that I play, there's times where it's just like, okay, this person's being so weird every round, pushing up main. Let's just wait a second. Let's just let them come to us, take this fight, kind of play off of how we know Fisher's been playing. These weirder angles, these, as you mentioned, ratting in the elevator, kind of play off of that knowledge and focus more on how can we counter specifically what Fisher is doing here.
Yeah, now looks like, though, EKU will bring in the knock, might be trying to get into maybe lobby fast with the knock. Yeah, knock spawning out here on the ATM side of the map, might try to get in fast, and that's kind of a play that you see from teams who, teams will be flipping cams and you won't notice that the knock has slipped into ATMs, and yeah, it looks like that's what they'll try to do to catch Fisher off guard.
We might be seeing a fight here real soon with the person at the top of the stairs. As bullets are just flying across the map currently, but not quite sure what at.
I think lots of angles are being opened up from EKU to try to just pressure this defense, but an important angle there on that Canto wall next to Elevator, not opened up yet, so kind of free reign for Fisher, and Lomo's going to go ahead and get into the archive side rather than walking up Spiral. Maybe might try to get into the site fast. But it does look like there's a site rotate, so Lomo does have this horizontal control, though. Might be calling for the team to instead go horizontal if they can't dislodge this top floor presence. But Bomb's going to take down Sin. And again, that's huge. It just looked like... Not sure how that went down like that with Bomb being over at Trump, but good pick regardless.
It feels like it's a issue of we know more where Fisher is not than where they are.
Yeah, so if I'm EKU and I'm all the way over here, I'm committing to this fast. They have the buck, so likely just going to try to buck into the site. But if they do this, there's a janitor player, so they're going to have to sprint through small, pick the guy and open. They're going to have to go very fast for this to work without that janitor control.
Mm-hmm. And the more we wait, the more time ticks away as Bomb finds Kolvix, just leaving us even more disadvantaged with even less time.
Yeah, that's not unexpected. Bomb just jumping out the CEO window and punishing that player. And EKU maybe not going enough, but there it is. Borger getting Marmalade. They might be able to get into the site now as Borger's going to find another. And Moon takes down Beezer up top. Now it's a 2 versus 2. But Annika bringing it back. Moon goes down and it's a 1v2 for Lomo on site. And the diffuser dropped outside?
Maybe.
Unfortunate for EKU, and Lomo's chances of winning this round are all but none. Annika will drop in their lower square.
Yeah.
Almost brought it back there with the fast play, but whoever was on the repels there, allowing the jump out, which again, the way Fisher have been playing, I'm anticipating these jump outs, and looks like EKU did not, and they lost the bomb outside, and just 3 attacks where EKU just looked like they could not get any ground on Fisher's defense, and all of a sudden it's a 3-6 Fisher with match point on bank.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, I believe last round or the round before, it comes down to just feeling out specifically how this team is playing, because they've been playing it more unique than most of the teams, less of like these default play styles and more of just we're winning our gunfights, so let's pick these gunfights.
Yeah, Fisher definitely playing wild to force those gunfights, and yeah, EKU just not knowing how to respond to the more aggressive defensive play. And yeah, they're falling behind and gonna have to see something different here. As they repeat the Lockers attack, it's the same defense from Fisher. So there is that. Perhaps EKU can read this. And not too sure about the Ram being a Lockers attack. Kolvix, there we go. Gonna switch off the Ram for the Striker. And EKU looking to not do that, as Borger deletes Sin from the round immediately.
I'm not entirely sure what...
He was shooting the default camera, and Sin likely ran and got caught in the crossfire.
Now, as somebody with more inside information, is claim a siege thing, or is that something that was that saying like, hey, my bad? Or
yeah, Sin is ironically claiming his own death there. So
okay,
I mean, you might say that if you're claiming a kill onto somebody, but Sin claiming his own death.
So that was essentially the funny way of saying, hey, my bad, walked in front of you there.
Yeah, a little ironic. insertion there from Sin, as now EKU have to play with no Deimos, no ability to try to dislocate these people. And I like this a lot more from EKU though. They're getting top. They tried to bypass top last time and get onto the first floor, but it just did not work when Fisher had so much first floor presence. But I like this more. The Deimos would have been helpful here though. So very unfortunate what transpired there.
Though I will say, I have seen from EKU Maroon, I believe the start of last semester, getting a team kill on bank before. I believe it might have been Sen that time too, and ended up taking the round. So this is not an impossible thing for this team.
Yeah, definitely possible. And I'm not sure why Ryan was swinging square there. I think he had all his smokes left as well. But now EKU, again, similar situation where I don't know that they've droned all this first floor out. And I don't know if they are ready for Marmalade and Bomb to be in the elevator and archive.
It seems like they're almost beside each other.
Yeah, Fisher playing very patient because they know that EKU have not farmed this information yet. And yeah, EKU just bypassing it, going to go ahead and start going security side, but Fisher will still have all the pressure they need. Yeah, Marmalade picks Moon, and Bomb is still there on the first floor elevator. And there's Bomb getting one. EKU just not aware. No information, and yeah, just a easy cleanup from Fisher there on just more sloppiness from EKU. And despite having a very competitive defensive half, EKU were just lost on their bank attacks. And
yeah, dare I say, having a operator be able to pinpoint where someone is could have been really helpful in a situation like that. But you know, accidents happen. So
yeah, very
as funny as it is to tease Borger for that one, can't be too mad about it.
Yeah, just it happens sometimes, and little unfortunate. And
yeah,
what can you do?
Kind of reminiscent of that one clip. I believe it's on Clubhouse, that very infamous Siege clip where the guy tries to shoot the cam, and then two of his teammates walk right in front of the bullets and get him kicked from the game. It's kind of how that felt.
Luckily, EKU still had a chance. They didn't lose two, but then they didn't drone the first floor. So just very unfortunate decision making, but they will get another chance as they transition to Chalet shortly, which I believe will be map 2.
Oh.
Maybe it's Cafe.
Maybe it's Cafe.
Maybe
we
it's
just
Cafe.
We just saw that switch in front of us.
Yeah.
Leads me to believe maybe we might see Chalet map 3 if we get to map 3.
Perhaps. Yeah. But so yeah, EKU just again a pretty good defensive half, some hiccups, but nothing like the hiccups we saw on their attack. And hopefully they show a little more. They'll be starting on attack for Cafe. So I believe EKU picked Cafe as well.
Okay.
So they will, again, they'll start attack. So we'll see what they have for Cafe. Hopefully a little more than what they had on Bank on that attack. But yeah, a little exciting. And if I remember correctly, they played Cafe against Fisher last semester as well.
I do believe so. I feel as though I remember Bomb. I remember casting that game. So I do believe that we did play.
Yeah, I think it was a close map as well that we played. So again, maybe if EKU's got better and Fisher's not got better at Cafe, then it will be another quick, maybe not quick, but another good barn burner. Hopefully not as quick as map 1, but we will see, as it looks like the players are ready, and looks like they will be hopping into map 2 of Cafe.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how this one is. This was always a interesting map to watch, and based on Fisher's play style on defense during Bank, I feel as though I'll put some money down right now on we're going to see several attempted spawn peaks.
Yes, Cafe.
What I think of when I think of Cafe is those spawn peaks.
Cafe has plenty of spawn peaks and plenty of jump outs. There are many windows you can hop out, and this should be very anticipated from EKU based on how Fisher played that first map. And EKU, if they bait it properly, they could punish the aggression from Fisher. If they just play simple minimum, guns up, and watching those runouts, the spawn peaks could get some early advantages in these rounds if they properly punish Fisher. We do see Deimos and Blackbeard getting banned out. So again, just Blackbeard really strong right now, pretty typical ban. And Deimos, perhaps a counter ban there, as both teams ran a lot of the Deimos on the previous map, and perhaps just Fisher not wanting to deal with that, as Valkyrie also gets banned out. Valkyrie pretty good on this map for getting that information, lots of good spots to sneak a Val cam,
Yes.
and plenty of C4 opportunities. There's lots of vertical chances for C4s there. So pretty typical for Cafe. And the final ban from Fisher will be the Azami, which was the same ban from last game. So perhaps it's a Fisher staple. And likely then not going to see that, as we discussed last week, Azami piano holds here on Cafe. It's going to be more so just the typical power positions, maybe some Mira. Yeah, we see Ryan running the Mira there for the cocktail bar bomb site, and EKU bringing out Ace and Zoe, Ash, Grim, Bravo. Looks like some destruction capability, so likely there you see bomb on castle to deal with that castle barricades. And
Yeah, what I'm surprised we're not seeing, which we might see depending on how Fisher plays out these rounds, is it feels like with how aggressive they've been with those jump outs and stuff, I'm surprised we're not seeing a Nomad pick from EKU trying to counteract that gameplay style.
yeah, likely gonna be running claymores to secure those picks, but yeah, at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to keep your gun up, because defenders can still get picks before they hit nomads, before they hit claymores. EKU just need to be ready if Fisher elect to play Cafe defense, similar to how they played Bank, which was very in your face. And just knowing the map of Cafe and how in your face it can be for the defense, I am anticipating some serious in your face defense from Fisher.
Yeah.
And it looks like Lomo going to hop in, maybe the first floor early, hoping to get a drone there to get up red early, perhaps to catch some defenders off guard.
I will say I am surprised. It didn't seem like, unless we just missed it, I didn't really hear any gunshots for those potential spawn peaks, so they might be waiting a couple rounds in to try it.
Yeah, maybe no spawn peaks then, but perhaps runouts later on. We will see. And oh, the timing was there for Lomo, but just could not hit the shot as the pillars on the staircase block the rest of his bullets. And very unfortunate for Lomo, who did have the timing on the mute and would have been a very wonderful fast pick there on the shot player, getting eliminated early. But otherwise, EKU needing to clear this castle, which is protected by the Aruni Gate. Perhaps the burn utility has been taking the stuns off of Moon, and he needs somebody to burn for him. It looks like the burns come through, and now he's going to burn the gate and perhaps pop the castle, dislodging that mute and shop, hopefully. And Lomo will find Bomb. I'm not sure where that was. Did Bomb try to go below?
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. When there goes the pick onto the mute. Excellent so far from EKU on pressuring Piano and Cigar very early and very good on time. But here's the in-your-face part. Beezer re-challenging Moon, puts him down. Looks like actually from C1, so Moon just exposed to a long angle there. And Dissy Annika try to press back up through Pixel, but now going to peel back and kind of a reset now, 4 versus 3 for EKU. But there's a C4 from Ryan onto the Cocktail Rappel player, and now it's a 3 versus 3 as a couple mistakes from EKU open the door for Fisher to get back in the round.
Yeah, it feels like this was a very quick to action round that got kind of slowed down more towards the middle, leaving us in the all too familiar situation of we need to get on site when we have less than a minute to do so.
Yeah, and now the castle barricade will go down, but another exposure to Beezer Cocktail, and there goes Lomo to Annika bathroom, and it's sending a 1 versus 3. Beezer gonna take care of him. Just
What was that, 3 or 4 in the round from them?
yeah, I think maybe 3 from Beezer. Could have been 3 from Beezer. Just owning the cocktail C1 side of the map there. And yeah, EKU had an excellent opening to the round, almost at like a perfect entry, but not quite getting that mute. But they ended up getting 2 picks early, 5 versus 3, but just didn't know how to put the brakes on and not exposed to these angles, and just kept giving up bodies and weren't able to pressure those spots because they kept losing the bodies, and the rounds slipped away.
It felt like a. I hate to keep bringing it up, but it feels as though it's just one team is playing. Being EKU is playing a bit more tactical, whereas Fisher just has realized that we win these gunfights. We don't even have to think too hard, just shoot gun.
Yeah, and that's, again, why EKU just need to worry about playing minimally and punishing Fisher's attempts to be aggressive there, to swing out on those gunfights. But again, I felt like they played still pretty patient the last round, had the sort of the right pace to the round, but just exposed to angles that Fisher were ready to punish. And now we will see Fisher going to Kitchen for the next defense, and it looks like it's going to be a full first floor hold, no extensions vertically. And if EKU had the right information, they should realize this pretty fast, that they can just enter the second floor and start getting that vertical pressure that it looks like that they want, since we see Buck, Ram, Nomad likely going to try to just get some direct pressure above the bomb site.
Yeah, it looks like we are moving in towards that top floor. Question is, do we know that there is just nobody on these top 2 floors?
Those look like Borgers droning out the top floor, so maybe the proper information was not gathered in the prep phase, as it does look like EKU are having to re-drone everything, so that's going to slow the take just a little bit. We'll lose some important time there. And actually, Ryan looks like, here it is again. Fisher College, no fear to walk up, to get in your face, to apply pressure. And Borger goes down as Marmalade at the same time goes to walk up white. Timed it with Ryan walking up red, and they get a pick and come back. Just kind of ironic as well that the Nomad gets picked on the flank there. But just more lack of awareness, lack of information from EKU. Should have been some easy punishes, but just no walk-up cams, no air jabs down from the Nomad. And they get punished. They do maintain 2 vertical operators, but it doesn't matter because Bomb Picks 1 is just going to keep walking up. Just a disaster from EKU on these walk-ups.
Looks like Sen almost picked a fight there, but heard something behind him.
Yeah, now EKU taking the time to open vertical pressure, but again, you're going to have to worry about these people walking up. And good stuff from Moon to punish Marmalade, who might have overstayed their welcome there on white stairs. Ooh, what a shot from Sin.
Just tons of charm.
Just jiggling that angle, and will find it. But Anakin challenging the vert, as again would be expected from Fisher, who have shown willingness to challenge anything and everything. And EKU go down, and there's Bomb, who again walked up and no info on the side of EKU. Just embarrassing information there on the EKU side, getting walked up numerous times. No chance of winning that round against Fisher, who again, of all teams, you would anticipate to be hitting these walk-ups.
Yeah.
So that's 2 early defenses from Fisher, and EKU need to start looking to adjust again to this Fisher play style. Again, here on reading defense, there will be opportunities for some flanks and walk-ups. Not as much as Kitchen, but still the opportunities will be there. And it looks like EKU bringing Gridlock and Nomad.
Just as even more slowdown up. It looks like we might be swapping it out.
Yeah, I might not stick it, but honestly, it might not be the worst idea considering how the last round went.
Yeah, being able to have people going over each side of that staircase and put something behind them to make sure people aren't following.
Yep, and looks like Fisher will be setting up a fairly standard setup here for reading side. And yeah, they're going to reinforce and bandit up that freezer wall, so probably not going to look to extend too much onto the piano side. More so will just be bunkered back there on the cocktail side. Force EKU to clear the util. Force EKU to win some gunfights.
Yeah.
And we will see what comes of it. And it looked like, after Kolvik's opened that window, it looked like Ryan willingly stuck his face in the window to challenge it. And again, unsurprised at that from Fisher.
Yeah, it feels as though, despite it being a bit of a not necessarily common play style, it is absolutely Fisher's play style. And they are becoming quite predictable in how they're going to challenge it. It just comes down to an issue of, and what a shot from Lomo there. It comes down to an issue of, can they even if you know how they're playing, can you win these gunfights?
Yeah, and a lot of collegiate teams, they'll just try to play solely utility, solely position-based, and definitely looks like what Fisher have going for them is their ability to properly aggress on their defenses. And yeah, Lomo unfortunately just not catching Beezer on the timing there as he rotates to the heaven balcony. And Lomo, though he gets the opening engagement, will go down there to the C1 player. And EK now have some control. They got to start pressuring these spots, and I'm not sure where Ryan got that pick. And another one from Beezer, although Sin is going to find Annika. It looks like the other two Fisher players are looking to walk up white stairs. Here it comes. One cocktail player and two looking to come up white stairs.
Now, it's honestly starting to feel as though we've just switched sides here. EKU is on that. Oh, instead is able to find Beezer here, just peeking around that corner. But it felt like, as I was saying, we're on defense now, and Fisher's played so aggressively. It feels like they're just taking the site.
Yeah, those two will peel back, though, and not commit to that aggression, and might be the right play there as Sin does find the Warden upstairs. And now Marmalade and Ryan will have to play the 2 versus 4 against Sin and Kolvix, who Sin has the capability to make some vert with that shotgun, and they may end up going for a pillar into reading plant, as they will pop the Goyos, though, and those Goyos should last a lot of the remainder of the round. So if EKU decide to go for this pillar plant, oh my, they're going to have to smack a castle and go through the fire last minute. Going to have to see some huge hero play from Sin here to cover this plant if EKU hope to win the round.
15 seconds remaining.
Yeah, as we're seeing the time just slowly tick away as Ryan finds Kolvix, leaving Sin alone to try to clean up these last two, but
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
they're not going to be in positions to even let him try.
Yeah, tragic there from EKU. Honestly, some decent trades coming out, and EKU managing to bring it back after Fisher did a good job of aggressing up there on the top floor, but just not enough from EKU there. And 2v2 with not much time left definitely favored Fisher. And yeah, Kolvix didn't even really make it into the bomb site with the diffuser before he got picked. So now, though, EKU have seen how Fisher plays these defenses, and it looks like on the bar defense, Fisher will opt for the same strategy. So we'll see what EKU decide to do to go for this. Again, first round worked out really well. They had that 5 versus 3 very early, but unfortunately got punished in the later round. So they're going to be looking to maintain that early round game that they had last time while also staying tight enough to survive the late round against Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, it feels as though, honestly, it feels as though Fisher just thrives under that pressure of the numbers advantage. But once, even though EKU has started strong so many of these rounds, they've been able to just turn it around just as quick as they lost the advantage.
Yeah, that's that aggression that they don't care to keep walking back up and to fight for getting the man advantage back. And likely we'll continue seeing that as EKU have to tango with 3 more Fisher defenses on this map that have proved to be so difficult for them. EKU actually don't believe they've won a single attack all night. Just poor attacks here, and hopefully they'll look to put some on the board. 3 would be ideal, but we'll see what they pull up. And looks like we might have a mute jammer audio bug, but there it goes from the drone. So
Yeah.
interesting. Well, again, it looks like that Moon got his utility burnt fast again, and might have to shoot those Grims deeper if they're using that to burn, but yeah. That'll get the rest of the my charges, and now we'll see. Actually, we'll see Bomb swing Moon on the window. And
I
wow.
can't even say it's a surprising play, but
No, I mean,
it still catches you off guard every time they do it.
yeah, Bomb playing aggressive there up next to the ticket spot, and I guess wasn't droned. And I mean, either way, you almost anticipated at this point. And yeah, gets aggressive and gets a early pick there for Fisher. As EKU now no Zofia, no way to clear that shop castle. We'll look for some miracles to try to get a foothold in this round, utility-wise.
Looks like Bomb does know where one of our players is on that window too, and knowing how he's been playing, he's just gonna take that fight.
Yeah. Honestly, EKU could probably bait here and punish him.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a fight between who kills who first, Bomb or Borger.
Yeah, now here comes the Ash in through ticket. And Marmalade trying to get aggressive on that red player gets punished. However, Beezer from the same spot, C1, will punish Sin entering into Nubalk there. And now Loma going to try to go for something crazy. Going to try to go white maybe late. And Borger getting dropped. And now Kolvik's just spraying and praying. And 3 players from Fisher locked on the Lomo.
Looks like Bomb is the only one on these two, but it seems like it's all they need over there.
Yeah, not able to win that gunfight out. And this is another round that just chalked from EKU. Again, just repeatedly running into the same errors of not anticipating or at least not droning this Fisher aggression. More of the same, and that single attacking round still eludes Eastern
Yes.
Kentucky.
It feels as though, as I mentioned, I feel as though I casted this team before, and Bomb was the one I remembered, and I'm starting to quickly see why the name Bomb was one I remembered, as we have seen it come up alone in this game 6 times by round 4.
Yeah.
Attackers need to
Definitely their player, although all the players do it, definitely the one they stick there the most aggressively to make those plays. We saw him flying out windows on bank, see him just sticking his face in everything here on Cafe, and again, not unexpected.
the location of a
Unlike how some people might play this game and once they realize there's 3 or 4 people on their floor, start trying to rotate back, feels like Bomb's more mentality is maybe I can get a timing on these 3 or 4 people and take 1 or 2 of them down with me.
Yeah, I mean,
insertion.
EKU looks like they will go for a little bit of an adaptation here, and I like this. So far, they tried to play sort of textbook siege, but they kept getting running out of time, getting flanked. Then they're trying to play some minimal siege, but I guess they're just losing gunfights and not droning the obvious spots. So now they're going to try to play some fast siege. Going to see Sense, Blitz here. This is going to be a fast restaurant side take. Going to send the Blitz at the VIP player and the Sense through the restaurant window. Yeah, here it comes. Going to go fast here. And somehow Moon getting down, but Borger will pick that off on Marmalade, who flew out a window this time. And now just need to reset and wait for the Blitz to run at this VIP player. Kovacs needs to wait for his team to time this. And there it is as Blitz arrives. Great timing, but Castle's running around outside, entering. Now, And it works as Kolvik's team kills trying to farm the castle. What a disaster, but the game plan has netted a 3 versus 2 for EKU, and those early picks making up for that.
As wild as this round seems, it might be the win EKU gets on attack.
Again, yeah, EKU, they're saying, Fisher, you want to play wild, we can play wild too. And actually the best that they've looked on attack all evening. It only took, 9 attacks.
9 attacks and a team kill.
And a team kill, 2 team kills.
True.
Ooh, Ryan cooking Lomo there, trying to challenge the coat spot there without assistance. Kind of questionable, but now he's splashed out, picked off by Borger, and now it's Annika, who we did see win that huge 1v3 last time, and they're going to get Borger. It's just Kolvik's in the 1 versus 1.
And health instantly drops, giving Annika the advantage here, being able to just play on site too. You don't have to go to them, they have to come to you.
Yeah, and Fisher had the info, and Annika is going to know exactly where Kolvik is at and is going to hit the wall bang, knowing Kolvik was at the rotate, and another clutch from Annika and another collapse from EKU. Again, looked like a great early round. The game plan was great. Some trades came out, and then, hate to say it, but Kolvik's team killed, and then could not secure that 1v1. Kind of a mistake there that round, as again EKU fail to get an attack. Just tragic. They've tried everything at this point, and I'm curious what they will try to bring out here for reading attack. Even one attack could help them. Fisher not looking so dominant on their own attacks, and EKU seemingly knowing how to play defense better against Fisher. And this map could help EKU once they get to the defense, but they need at least the one attack here, or they're going to be pressed for something they've done before, but a enormous comeback on Cafe. This is actually the map that we came back 0-6 to win a playoff game on one time, so can't count them out till
difficult.
It's 7,
but not impossible, especially if we take this one round. I think that is the pillar of hope we need. If we get our offense round for the night, or one, we might could. The problem is here, even if we do manage to come back from an 0-6 in the first half, that puts us right back to having to attack in overtime, which is not the situation we want to be in. So getting this round here could be the decider. Round here, flawless defense, put us in the map 3.
Yes, that would be ideal for 7 in a row here from EKU, but it's got to start with 1, and now would be a good time for the 1 as they look to get some of this top 4 pressure, and somebody's outside somewhere. Ryan ran out the snow balcony there, but it looked like that EKU had nobody there for him to farm. So, and another good entry from Lomo, and that has been one of the shining aspects of these attacks so far, is Lomo's ability to win some of these entry engagements. Sin finds another. There's Beezer shut down on the C1 position, and now there's hope for EKU. Again, 5 versus 3. We saw it before, and here it comes. This re-aggression from Fisher. Marmalade finds 1. Is Kolvik's aware of this player? He maybe not, but Lomo is. Lomo, no fear to just walk up cocktail there, get the necessary pick. That's what you like to see. Great entries from Lomo and Sin. Now it's a 4 versus 2, a minute 30 to get all the pressure that they want. And
we got this verticality down very strong, putting them in a much more defensive situation than it feels like Fisher is.
Here it comes, double walk up. White stairs from Fisher. 1 for 1 though, as Ryan continues to go up, and Lomo's ready.
There you go.
Looks like they anticipated it that time. Not surprising. Double walk up coming there, but there's the first attack for EKU tonight. It comes from what hopefully is not their last one of the night, but could be, unless they can really shine out here on the defense. But getting that one attack, definitely a confidence boost for what could have been a winless night on attack for EKU.
Yeah, I mean, it looked, compared to all of the other rounds, that just looked good. That was a solid attack. Lomo getting in there quick, taking out bomb. Just the right plays made at the right times for once.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yep, and interested to see how Bomb and Fisher, really in general, approached the attacks here. We saw Bomb on the Deimos almost every round on Bank, and now the Deimos gone, so it'll be interesting to see how they have him play sort of that early get in the map play here on Cafe, but does look like with the Ying, Fisher might be going for something a little fancy here on their bar attack. But EKU bringing the Mira, looking to do probably a freezer mirror here with that castle barricade protecting from the skylight. And honestly similar to Fisher's cocktail setup that we saw on their defense.
Yeah. Hopefully, EKU can kind of play more towards the strengths of. We see Fisher playing these weirder, kind of more aggressive styles over the more textbook styles. So we might see that textbook works well against that in attack, whereas on defense, it's so much easier to play weirder and catch the attackers off guard.
Well, looks like that Fisher's kind of wild card for their attacker is going to be getting into the second floor, which is a little uncommon for collegiate, but it is kind of common elsewhere. And it looks like that Sin does have the read onto that. And I will say I liked what I saw from EKU early round. I think we saw two different players going for spawn peaks. I think that's what you got to do here against Fisher. Either that or you play extremely passive and make them minimize their gunfights. But big pick from Sin, and he's going to get out. But instead of going up, he goes down. That might end up costing him if Fisher know that he went down. Beezer somehow picking off the C1 player.
Yeah, somehow, somewhere.
Oh, I think it was from reading. He got the vertical on him from below. And yeah, Kovalev's just not aware of how to reposition from some vertical pressure and gets picked. Little early for that C1 spot, and might end up seeing some cocktail repel-ins from Fisher if they don't have anything else, but that might have been all they need to pick that C1 player. Going to flash out the Stacks player. Here comes Beezer. Marmalade finds one on the freezer, and there is Beezer getting another one on the freezer. And Lomo on the... I might have come up red side. I might have been there the whole time. We'll find one. It's now 2v3, not totally unwinnable, but Sin is dislocated from Lomo, so two isolated players, and Fisher with plenty of time to find somebody as the bomb goes down. Bomb will get one, and Beezer shuts down the other, and just Fisher, all they had to do is they got in the first four fast there, and as soon as they picked that C1 player, they had everything they needed to just go for it. EKU just getting picked twice there on the freezer rotation, and it looked like they just did not know how to deal with that. And yeah, again, Fisher just walking over them.
It just feels like when, and like I said earlier, it just feels like an instance of one team is better at the gunfights. So it makes it much, much harder that no matter how tactical you play, if you just keep getting diffed in your gunfights, it's just not much you can do in the moment to improve. One of those games that you take a moment and be like, okay, that was purely, I could just work on my gunfights a little bit. Not much you can do in a game to adjust to that.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, the only thing that EKU seemed to have going for them was playing a little more aggressive, and I did like what we saw last time with the spawn peaks, and they gotta keep that aggression up, because when they sit still and allow Fisher to get the pressure that they want, Fisher just, win these gunfights on the execute. Mm-hmm. And EKU gotta start thinking of ways to throw a wrench into how Fisher are doing this, but at this point, it may be too late as Fisher are up 6-1 on EKU's map pick.
Yeah, one of those instances where you might need to try to figure out more and more ways that, as funny as it is to say, you're taking gunfights that just aren't fair. Shoot them in the back, shoot them in the side, pick less and less of those just raw gunfights.
Yeah, I did like that from Lomo though. He did stick his face there in the white door, and there we go. Kolvix gets one early pick. Sin though traded back from Marmalade. Not entirely sure where at, but Kolvix with another one. Bomb is clueless. Bomb
Yeah.
jumps in tables and is just unaware. Punish from Kolvix, and goes another one down. And now it's just this gridlock. And they are punished. I mean, great round from EKU. Like, Fisher just seemed to, I don't know, walk in
Yeah.
and
just
EKU farmed them. I mean, yeah, nothing there again that has been working for Fisher did they do there. All these rounds that we see Fisher try to go fast, try to go aggressive on their attacks, gets shut down from EKU. We saw that on Bank. So kind of a questionable call there from Fisher to just go for some super fast jump in every window and door on the first floor, I guess, was the strategy. But EKU prepared to punish that. And yeah, again, would rather see Fisher go more so for what has been working for him, but can't complain if you're EKU. And they will now transition back to Cocktail, forsaking that reading or the mining bomb site and instead going back to the top floor. Just interesting choice, and swapping a Jaeger over for a Vigil this time. So gonna look to get more active, and I like that because they knew that Fisher wanted to get in below the last time around, and this is gonna force them to do something extra to get in that second floor. Might send the Montaigne down this time, just face checking everything since they know there's the Vigil, but actually the Buck not being brought this time, so Fisher may not even go for the same take on this attack.
Moving out to locate a bomb.
EKU might see something different here from Fisher's approach.
seems like seeing what EKU was doing completely shook up what Fisher was initially planning. But is that a good thing, or is this a, oh man, our original plan's not going to work switch, or is this a, oh, I know what to do against this kind of switch? So let's see how Fisher plays this out. If they see him a little more lost, then EKU might have found out the key to stopping them. However, they might have just switched to people they're more comfortable with. Bomb on a character like Ash, one of those more aggressive, fast-paced characters, is something that could be pretty scary to see.
Yeah, Fisher is completely rotating their approach here. Last time they went below and Cocktail side. This time it is full red piano side. And we will see now how EKU's defense holds against this side, which it looked like it got ripped apart by the Cocktail side. But perhaps their defense is a little more suited for a red and piano side approach from the attack. Is that default cam still up outside? Yeah, it looks like Fisher, despite having gun skill and aggression, don't have common sense to shoot the exterior defaults, and could end up getting punished by that. But
Yeah, maybe one of those moments of everyone on the team thought the other guy did it.
yeah, and also nobody on the skylight from Fisher to punish Lomo here for just kind of flowing around the Shiko spot. And yeah, likely going to send somebody to the skylight now, but he's out. And there it is, the run out from Sin. Gets Ryan on that rappel. That's why you shoot default, Ryan. And now it's a 5 versus 4 for EKU. But the one Borger might have overstayed his welcome. Bathroom gets dropped. 4 versus 4 now. Montaigne taking this white ball pretty effectively here. Yeah, EKU about to get boxed in back on the Cocktail side and going to have an opportunity for Fisher to open up a plant. But a huge pick from Lomo there onto Bomb, trying to entry into Freezer.
Yeah, starting to look a lot more confident here from EKU once they're on this defense, but we start dropping slowly, and it might be one of those instances we've seen all of this map today that even though EKU seems to start in these great spots, they just start dropping like flies.
Yeah, Beezer just aiming his pistol and starting to farm EKU. That's 3 pistol kills from the Montaigne. 1 versus 2 for Lomo on 1 HP, and Marmalade's going to get him, and that will be the game. Another good opening to the round, but just a collapse as the pressure comes on from Fisher as they get ready to execute. And yeah, EKU just not able to pick up the pace there to match what we saw from Fisher.
Yeah, just so many times it seemed like hope gets lost early for EKU, and they fight it back, and it just felt like they were clawing up from just bad situations the whole games there.
Yeah, if you let a team play aggressive against you like that, it's always going to feel like an uphill battle. So you have to start finding ways to not let the aggression get to you, whether that be play more minimally and bait and punish the aggression, or whether it be to match the aggression with aggression. You can't let it control you. And it looked like EKU on their attack just had no idea how to deal with the aggressive nature from Fisher's defense, and it cost them, unfortunately.
Yes.
Just one attack all night, and unfortunately a quick 2-0 for Fisher College.
And despite the fact, even on attack, EKU, not attack, sorry, opposite, defense, EKU was starting to look pretty strong there near that final game, but just having that 5-1 on starting their defensive sides just made it so much more difficult.
Yeah, we saw back and forth defense on Bank, and it was shaping up to be back and forth defense on Cafe, but when you're down to 1-5, back and forth means you just played 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just those attacks costing EKU, and despite them being competitive on defense with Fisher, just could not get anything going on those attacks, and unfortunately cost them their first win of the ECAC season, or their first loss of the ECAC season. And so now hopefully they will stay strong, as they almost certainly will be in playoffs at the record that they have, and maybe might get a rematch later on against Fisher. Would be fun, but hopefully landing on their feet once they hit playoffs after rebounding from what just has been their first loss of the season.
Yeah, I mean, as we said at the start, this is 2 undefeated teams going up against each other. One team had to go here.
Right. Unfortunate that it was us, but well played to Fisher. And,
Yes.
Good luck to both teams for the playoff era now in the ECAC spring 2025 season.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yep. Well, I've been Marshall.
I'm Dakota, and we'll see you all next Monday. We're Siege, and tomorrow for Valorant.
See you.